Yeah.
Moving on to another team that's been kind of inconsistent, I would say the Las Vegas Raiders, bro. And they're going through potentially quarterback change, but definitely quarterback problems right now. Gardner Minshew has not been good, as you predicted. And to be honest, he hasn't helped, our Devontae Adams shares at all. He's been really inconsistent with our Jacoby Myers shares. And, Brock Bowers has probably been the one good thing out of this, right, when it comes to Gardner Minshew. But potentially a quarterback change here. Do you think this team should stick with Gardner Minshew or move on to Aidan O'Connell? Because I feel like, to be honest, watching Aidan O'Connell in preseason and watching him on his last drives there, it looks like Aidan O'Connell took a step up from where we saw him last year.
Yeah, I mean, if I was the Raiders, I would just I don't know what this team is trying to do. I don't understand. Are they trying to win? If I was the Raiders, I would just be playing Aidan O'Connell for the season, kind of see what you got in him, and then he sucks. Well, hey, you get a good draft pick, and then you're able to kind of build out the roster a little bit better. I don't know what exactly they're trying to do. Are they trying to win? So, but I'm definitely concerned. I was not very big on this offense as a whole. I like Devontae Adams, but I just didn't like this quarterback situation here. But I also didn't like, Sam Darnold, and that's proving to be wrong there. But it was just a situation that I don't like this offense. I'm definitely concerned if I had Devontae Adams, just because of, with this quarterback situation. Yes. Now people will probably say, well, Aidan O'Connell will be better. Gardner Minshew was supposed to be better for him heading into the season. Now you're saying, well, Aidan O'Connell, no, we've seen this. So I'm a little, and then also I don't know what exactly Antonio Pierce was saying. Business decisions were made. I don't know what the hell is going on here. This is just this is the problem. This is just it's been a bad organization. This has been a bad organization for a little bit here. So it's just a really weird situation. The running back room doesn't look good. Nothing looks good. You go out there, you get stomped by the Panthers. Obviously, Andy Dalton played really well, but it's just a situation where I wouldn't really want any of these guys. And maybe Devontae Adams, there's been some trade talks. Maybe he gets traded. I have no idea, but it's just a situation that I don't really want any of these guys, unfortunately.
I don't. And, on some real football shit, I feel like Antonio Pierce might be in over his head a little bit.
I
didn't really in preseason, we're going to we make all of our guys play, and you got Devontae Adams sitting down. Now you got quarterback, we got to evaluate the room, and we're evaluating everything. I don't think they're going to pull the plug on Minshew, because that also speaks to you as a head coach, that you didn't identify the right guy, and you had an entire offseason to do it. So I think giving up on a guy like Minshew isn't the right thing, but I do think it puts him on notice. And I think that's a good thing for this whole offense to kind of scare some people, but is it going to be effective? Who knows? Because bad teams don't always resort to, they don't always respond to scare tactics. They don't always work that well. So they kind of got a lucky win last week against week 2 against Baltimore. I think if it wasn't for that win, we'd be talking about Antonio Pierce potentially looking for a job after this week if they don't beat Cleveland. So they got games against Cleveland, Denver, Pittsburgh, which for quarterback-wise, it's not good.
No.
So I would be anticipating some kind of quarterback change probably coming in the next 3 weeks just based off of that schedule. But we have seen the emergence of Brock Bowers. And, this is a player who, before I get into that, I'm not as concerned about Devontae Adams. He's still a top 15 receiver right now. So I'm not as concerned about him as others. And I think we're just expecting a certain level of output when it comes to Devontae Adams. I'm assuming we have one of those games here very soon where he's 10 catches, 120 yards, and a touchdown or two. So that will always vault your back into the top 10. But I'm not overly panicking on him, and I wouldn't move off of him because I'm scared of the Raiders or anything like that.
But I think he should just be viewed as a wide receiver 2. If you're trying to view him as more of a wide receiver 1, I think he's more of a wide receiver 2 with this offense.
See, I still think he's backing in wide receiver 1. I still think he's wide receiver 1.
Fair.
Brock Bowers, tight end 2 right now. Brock Bowers, of all people. And, I think it says a lot about the tight end position, but it also says a lot about Brock Bowers, too. He's averaging over six targets a game, which you want to see from your tight end. He seems to be a major part of this offense, even though he didn't perform as well over the weekend against Carolina. Now, I don't know if a quarterback change messes with this at all, if this is a scheme thing, or if Devontae Adams starts running his mouth and more targets start to go his way. But Bowers has been a consistent tight end in a year full of question marks at the tight end position. Do you think do you think the fantasy community is going to overreact now to Brock Bowers and put him as a top 5 guy moving forward, top 7 guy moving forward? Or do you think it's rightfully so? Like he should be over the Mark Andrews, the Kelsey's potentially, like some of these other more consistent options than we had.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough, or it's hard to kind of figure out like the Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce situation. I like Mark Andrews just I don't know what's going on, to be honest with you. I'm not big brain like that. And even
He only
Travis
ran
Kelce.
what was it, 4 routes?
Yeah, he didn't run many routes. I don't know what's going on. And then Travis Kelce, I mean, maybe he's just kind of cooked. I don't like Rashee Rice is just fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really the biggest thing. He's kind of like, but like with Brock Bowers, so kind of talk shit on the Raiders a little bit, but I think they had one of the best picks in the draft with Brock Bowers. Like that dude fell down the board. And truly, this is a generation. Like I know the term gets thrown around, but like this is a generational kind of guy at the tight end position. So for me personally, like, do I think it's an overreaction that he gets moved up that high? No, because I think Brock Bowers in college was absolutely dominant. He commanded targets at a very high rate because he's just very good. Like he's able to get open. He's an absolute mismatch. So for me personally, I don't think it's an overreaction. I think he's going to be second in this team in targets behind Davante Adams. And for a position right now that's just it's bad. Like the tight end position is just dreadful. I think he deserves to be that because he's producing, he's getting open, he's seeing targets, and like this could also be a team that's just not winning a lot of games, so they're playing from behind. They have to throw the ball a little bit more than normal. Other teams out there, so I really like Brock Bowers. I think he's a guy that should be viewed as a top 10, top 7 tight end going forward for sure.
I think until we see production from the other guys, this is an easy player on a weekly basis. Like if I have a start to sit decision between like Brock Bowers and Mark Andrews for now, I think it's an easy start sit. Like
Yeah.
I'm starting Brock Bowers over these guys who haven't performed. But I think if I was thinking long term along the lines of like, would I trade Brock Bowers for Travis Kelce? I'm not there yet. Would I trade Brock Bowers for George Kittle or Trey McBride or anybody like that? I'm not there yet. The one I think I'm probably most there with is like a Mark Andrews, who just seems to be like not involved at all with this line. We'll talk about him in a minute. But I think when it comes to Brock Bowers, I'm not ready to call him a lock for the top 5 yet. Like I wouldn't trade him for Laporta, but I think he's emerged from like this back end, maybe high end tight end 2 option to like a locked in mid tier tight end 1 with like your Kyle Pitts, your Dalton Kincaids, your guys that are just like a little bit more questionable. I feel good about putting them.